Why, hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. What is up, guys? This is James, aka Jimmy Pancakes 20, back to do a new video slash podcast for you. And we have a very special person joining us after a very, very long time. You know her voice by now. You've seen her in a lot of my YouTube videos and know her voice from the podcast. So, welcome back, finally, my co-host, my mom, Marsha. So, Mom, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, Mom, it's been a very long time since we've done a podcast together. How you feel getting back into the swing of things?
I enjoy working on the podcast with you, James, so I'm excited about this one.
All right, and this one is going to be a very special one because it's finally time. It's been a couple months, and we're finally getting around to getting it done, and it's going to be in 3 different parts. So what we are doing today for you guys is we are doing our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood review video slash podcast. But as I did mention in my social media sites, because there was a ton of mazes, there was a ton of scare zones, and there was 2 shows, we can't fit all of that into one video slash podcast. So we're breaking it up into 3 parts. So, part 1 today is going to be the 4 mazes that were located on the upper lot. And then we're also going to conclude with the terror tram. So that's what is going to be in part 1. In part 2, we're going to talk about the 4 4 mazes that were located downstairs on the lower lot. And then in part 3 is going to be the scare zones and the 2 shows. So that's how we're breaking up this times, because there's a lot of content that we have to get through. And just to let people know is my co-host Marsha and I went on opening night of Halloween Horror Nights, but it was one of the hottest days ever. It was like 110 degrees. Everyone was like feeling it. We drank so much water and stuff. We were starting to feel sick. So, unfortunately, for the very first time in the history of Halloween Horror Nights, Marsha and I did not see all the mazes live. We only saw 3 of them. And that 3, the 3 that we saw, we're going to talk about in part 2. So part 1 is going to be all the mazes that are on the upper lot, as well as the terror tram. We did not do any of those, but we still wanted to review them because we did watch different versions of it on YouTube. And then when we get to part 2, we're going to talk about the 3 mazes that we did there live or in person. And we also did one of the shows, which we'll talk about in part 3. So, and of course, because of my work schedule, I could not go back for closing night, as well as my mom's work schedule. We could not go back on closing night. So this year we're planning to go more days. So I just wanted to let people know that. That's why I wanted to get that out of the way before we started this video. So, Mom, are you ready to begin this video?
Yes, I am.
And how we're going to be doing our ratings is from a 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best.
Okay.
So hopefully you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy part 1 of our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2024 review. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the dates of this year's events. This year was the first time we actually got the event started earlier than ever. Usually it'll start in the middle of September. this year they decided to start at the beginning of September. So, unfortunately, I did not save a screenshot of all the ticket prices, and I tried looking it up this year. They took all of them down because they're getting ready for this year. So next year, when I do my Halloween Horror Nights review this year coming up for 2025, I will definitely save the ticket prices so we can talk about them. But the dates, the dates were select nights. So in September, it was the 5th through the 8th, the 12th for the 15th, the 19th for the 22nd, 26th for the 29th, and then in October was the 3rd for the 6th, the 9th through the 13th, the 16th for the 20th, the 23rd for the 27th, and then the 30th and 31st, and then the official closing night was November 3rd, so it went through November 1st through the 3rd of November. So those are a lot of dates, Mom. So your thoughts about them starting way earlier?
I think it was like a good decision because there was a lot of good mazes there this year. I'm glad it ended on the 3rd because people's work schedule, people's like busy lives. So,
and it gave people, if you didn't do all the mazes that first time,
they can go back a second time to do the rest of the mazes.
Right, and that's what originally we were going to plan to do, but we just could not do it.
Right, and I was feeling sick the first night too, so...
Yeah, it was bad. It was one of the hottest days in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people left that day.
Right.
Early. Alright, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the first maze, which is the one that's closest to the entrance. And that one is, they call the building now the UBE venue. But as updaters and fans of Universal, we know it as the old Walking Dead attraction. So, yes, so from 2016 to 2020, for 4 years, they did have the Walking Dead attraction. And then in 2021 was the first year they actually did a maze in that location. And then ever since then, they just continue doing mazes in there. So, as I said, these 4 mazes that we're going to talk about in part 1, as well as the Terror Tram, we did not see it live, but we did watch videos of it. So, basically the rating for part 1 is going to be based off what we saw in the videos. So, A Quiet Place. So, here's the description. Be dead quiet. If you make a sound, the monster creatures will get you. Make a sound and that will be the last thing. Creatures can hear you, slight movement, and hunt you down in this post-apocalyptic world that is terrifying. So, what the premise of the Quiet Place movies are is basically these alien-type monsters have came to Earth, and it's supposed to be apocalyptic, and you have to be quiet or they will hear you. So, I personally have not seen either of the movies. I would like to, and you haven't seen the movies either.
I thought I saw part 1 with you in theaters.
No, we did not. We
okay,
did not
I was thinking maybe of another movie then.
Yeah, it was something else. Yeah. All right. So, basically, they did not do anything to the queue line, so it's pretty much the same as it was when it was The Walking Dead. Yeah. Pretty much, it's the same as every house since The Walking Dead maze closed, or attraction.
Yeah.
As you enter, you see a sign that says a quiet place. So how you enter the quiet place maze is through a sign that says a quiet place. The first room you walk into is you're in the woods and you see one of the characters telling you to be quiet. So,
one of the actresses.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I said characters.
Yeah. Got it.
The next room you enter is you see two dead bodies, one cut in half and the other one tied to a tree. As you enter the corner, you see one of the alien creatures that pops out and scares you. Next room you enter is the family's home from the first movie, I think. I don't really know.
Trying to remember. It might have been the home for the first one. I don't remember, James.
I don't remember either.
No.
As you enter the home, you see a staircase on your left, and the walkway you continue, and you hear noises upstairs. Also, in this room, there are large, scratches against the wall. So, from the creatures. As you enter the next room, there's a giant creature that pops out and scares you right in front of your face.
I remember that one. We were watching this
Yeah.
Almost fell off the couch then.
Oh, I know. The next room you enter, I think, is the basement of the secret room that you hide, and you see another live actor telling you to be quiet. You hear an alarm clock in the room, and as you turn the corner, you see another one of those creatures. And I want to just confirm, all these creatures were puppets. They were not live actors. They were puppeteers that popped out and scared you.
So people are behind them,
popping them out. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. As you enter that room, you walk into a hallway and you see another alien creature, and at the end of the hallway, you see another character telling you to be quiet. She's pretending to hide from the creature. She's on your left, and then you see another live actor who is the father come from the right, and he scares you as he pretends to hit you with some weapon. So, I think it's like an axe or something.
Right. And maybe he was trying to kill the creatures, but he was scaring us with the axe instead.
Yeah. The next two rooms you enter, there are no characters. It just looks like you're going through the shed with lots of supplies. So,
I remember that one. We were watching it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no...
As you're about to leave the final room, you hear another creature come out and scares you from your left-hand side.
When I was watching it, that creature scared me.
Yeah. As you enter the next room, I think you're down back at the basement, and you see a creature that's hovering over a little baby from the film. Yeah, there was like the baby crib.
Right. That might have been from the second one, because I know she had a baby in the second one.
I'm not sure. As I said, I think you're back in the forest, and there's some buildings that look destroyed, like maybe a train that's destroyed, or maybe in the middle of something, and in the middle there's another creature that pops out. The next room you enter is a small room where you see two live actors on either side. The one on the left has a slate trap and a bear trap in the other one. And the other one on the left is a woman trying to help him. But then they both try to be quiet because you can hear in the background the creatures.
Mm-hmm.
As you turn the corner, the other creature comes out of a brick wall, and it looks like you're going into some abandoned building. I really don't know.
Yeah.
As you enter the abandoned building, you see another live after telling you to be quiet, and then it looks like another safe area. They used to be in the woods. The live actor is on the right, and then on the left there's another creature that pops out that looks like a vent.
He's popping out of a vent. It sure looked like it to me, the vent.
Yeah. As you exit that room, you get one last scare, one last creature that you're in a dark hallway and you can't see it coming from your right. So, that is pretty much the whole maze. So, your thoughts on The Quiet Place. Even though we didn't go through it, we could have, but we were just like feeling sick that day, and
it's like we did our favorite mazes, which we'll get to in
part two.
But I saw the movie. I know I saw part one.
Yeah, you saw part one. I never seen any of the movies.
Okay, part one is I think that was from part one because I remembered all the scenes from the movie. But it looked really, really good. Well done. The actors were on their game. I really liked this maze when I watched it on TV, and I think this one was very popular.
Yeah. So
I really liked it.
So for me, just not seeing any of the movies, not knowing about it, watching it on YouTube, I would have enjoyed this maze even if I didn't know exactly what was going on. You know, when we were watching it, like the actors were great and stuff like that. I really wish I could have seen it live, but you know, you can't do that. But
maybe they'll bring it back next year.
You never know. So I'm going to say it was a good maze. So what would be your score from 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best?
The one I saw from watching it on TV, I would give it a 5 out of 5. The actors were on their game, and the creatures were really, really good. That was my score.
All right, so for me, because I didn't really get the whole premise. I mean, I got the premise, but for not knowing the content, not knowing anything, the sets were amazing, the puppeteers were amazing, but it was a good maze, but I think something else should have gone in there. So I'm going to give it an average score of a 3 out of 5. Okay. It was good. The sets were amazing, but the story kind of threw me off, and they had way too much of those creatures and not enough live actors.
Okay.
So that's what I give it.
Got it.
Okay, so now we're going to move on. This one I really kicked myself in the butt for not seeing it live, but it was okay. We're moving on to Monstruos to the Nightmares of Latin America. So, your thoughts when they decided to do a second version of this?
I said, what the heck? We already did Monstruos like 2 years.
No.
1 year.
1 year.
Why would they bring another one?
But it was very popular. Like, I enjoyed the first version of it.
I enjoyed the first version. But watching this one, I'll give my opinion at the end.
Yeah. So this was located in the Persian courtyard where Monstruos 1 was located, and you had 3 new characters. You had El Chorro, you had El Diablo, which is like a demon dog, and then of course you have El Kukui, which there's a little history about it that I'm going to talk about towards the end. So, basically the facade was the same that you saw last year, which was the mausoleum. So they didn't really change anything for the mausoleum. Sometimes you would see the gravedigger outside, like you saw him last year. It just depended on when you went. It depended if they, had multiple people that were playing the gravedigger that day, or sometimes they would only have two. So it just depended.
Mm-hmm.
So then you enter, and the first two rooms are exactly the same like last year. You enter the crypt where you see the two dead bodies, or you see dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're introduced to your first character, which is El Choro. And this one I thought was very interesting, his backstory. And there are some videos where John Murray explains the backstory for this character. He talks about the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I will put some links to those videos down below if you guys are interested. But basically what the backstory is for this character is he was a normal guy who was a miner. And he goes to this bar one night with his co-workers. And he's drinking a lot, and he starts a ruckus at the bar. Like, he starts...
Fights at the bar.
Not fights at the bar, but he's, like, screaming and yelling really loud.
Yeah.
Where, one by one, his co-workers start leaving. And then, all of a sudden, he's left alone in this cantina/bar. And he saying that life is unfair. I wish I was born wealthy and powerful. And then at this point, this man in a dark suit comes up to him and says, I can make your dream come true. But he doesn't realize that he made a deal with the devil. So basically he wakes up the next morning and he has all these golds in front of him, and he starts living his best life. He's buying all these fancy clothes. He's buying all the best food. He has
jewelry.
He has girlfriends all over the village. And towards the end of his life, he doesn't realize that he made a deal with the devil, so he tries to escape. He takes as much gold as he can on his horse, but you can't escape the devil.
No, you cannot.
And so basically, the devil catches up with him and says, "You're going to hell as well as your horse, but I will make you a deal. You're going to roam the earth at night, and if you can get someone to take the bag of gold, they will take your place in hell." So basically what he does is, the legend is that he rides on the outskirts of town, like on the roads, and he's trying to get someone to take the gold. And so that's basically what the actors in this maze were doing. So that's kind of like his backstory. So you tell me if you guys are liking this character or what. So the first room is, of course, you're in the Mexican bar. You see a dummy of a drunk on the table. There's no bartender. And then from your left is the dead horse comes out. That's a puppet.
Yeah.
And then to the right is El Toro comes out, and he's trying to hand you the bag of gold. So you get a double scare in the first room.
Yeah. The horse and the live actor.
Yeah, his dead horse. The next room is in the back room where you have these pots of gold. And what I liked about it was they had this lighting effect where some of the golds were popping to make it really bright.
Yeah. And
they basically walk down this hallway with skeletons on the wall. And then Aerotoro comes out again from the right to scare you again, offering you his
gold.
His bag of gold. So, the next character that you meet is El Cadicio. It's like a demon dog. So, unfortunately, John Murray does not talk about this character. I also tried to research and couldn't find anything, so I don't know what the backstory for this particular character is.
Right.
So the first room you enter is a hallway, and the first time you're introduced to this character, he comes out in front of you and scares you, and all the demon dogs are puppets. So there's no live scare actors for this section of the maze. It's all puppets, and you see about it was about 5 in total as you're going through these different hallways. They're popping out from right to left, scaring you. So pretty much that's all it really is.
There was no live actors in this section.
And then the last character you meet is
El Kukui.
El Kukui, thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
So basically what the legend is for this character is he lives on that hilltop, and he's basically a shapeshifter, and he can turn into anyone. So he can turn into a police officer, he can turn into a fireman, he can turn into your grandmother. And basically what he does is he takes naughty children, takes them up to his lair, and does stuff to them. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And so, a little history lesson for you guys. Back in 2013, in the same location, they did an El Kukui maze that was narrated by Danny Trejo. And
I remember that one.
And I'm going to talk about that maze when I get to my 2013 Hollywood history. Because I think that was one of the best mazes that they ever did in that location.
I really loved that maze in 2013.
So when we get to the history video for that one, we'll talk more about it. So you go a little bit to the outside portion, because in this maze there's a little outside portion that they have to build in, and then you go right back into the building. And so basically what they do is they build like this random house, and there is a statue of El Kukui up in front. And so when you're paying attention to that, on your right hand side is when the first time you have a live actor of El Kukui coming out.
So you're looking up there, and he scares you from the right.
From the right, yeah.
Good job.
Yes. So the next room you enter is the living room, and there are no scare actors in this room. Then you walk down the hallway, and from your right, El Kukui comes out and scares you again. And then you enter a child's bedroom, and it's exactly the same. From 2013, there was a scene in 2013 where they had this child that was like a dummy of a child on the bed, and then these giant hands of El Kukui come out from underneath the bed.
I wish they did that scene in here.
They did. That's the scene.
Yeah, that's the scene. Okay. I was trying to remember. So.
Yeah, that was so it was exactly the same scene from 2013. After you leave the child's room, El Kukui comes out, and he comes out right in front of you and scares you. Then you enter the cave of El Kukui. And this was exactly the same from 2013. The exact same cave layout. I was like, the entrance of the cave was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Then you enter the cave, and El Kukui comes out from the right and scares you again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you enter a room that I call the trophy room, where he has trophies of kids' stuff that he's taken over the years. Yeah.
Like gross stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say gross. Like, yeah.
And then so then as you leave the trophy room, on your left-hand side, they have a actor that's dressed up as a Mexican child.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then you turn the corner, and right in front of you is a giant puppet of El Cucuy that comes out and scares you. I thought that was brilliant.
That was brilliant.
Yes.
It scared when I was watching it.
And then as you enter the maze, it's the final room, is the graveyard, and you see the grave digger saying, "This is your grave now." The exact same thing that they did for 2023. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of the maze. So, your thoughts on that, Mom?
When I was watching it, I was intensely watching it. I really liked this maze. I liked when they brought El Cucuy back. That was amazing. Mm-hmm. Because the 2013 maze, which we're going to talk about later, was really good from El Cucuy. Everything, I was watching it and I was jumping off the couch. It was scaring me.
Right.
So I really like this maze.
Right.
Your opinion, James?
So for me, I really did enjoy this one. The only criticism I got was I liked that they did El Cucuy at the end, and I liked the backstory for the first character was El Charro. Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense to have that demon dog because you didn't know really what the backstory was, and it was just like 4 or 5 puppets. That was it, and there was no scare actors in that location. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they just did that because they needed to put something in there. I don't know. Really,
in that part, they should have had like 1 or 2 live actors dressed up as the dog.
Right.
I see what you're saying, James. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I really wish we could have gone for this maze live. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. But if they definitely bring back a third version of it, I will definitely go for it multiple times. So now we have to give her a score from a 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best. Your score, Mom.
Okay, I liked the first scene with the whatever one. The second one, I didn't really like when I was watching it. It's just the puppets.
Right.
Which, John Murray, what were you thinking?
Right.
The third one, El Cucuy, I really liked. Mm-hmm. I would give a score of 4 out of 5 because of the second room had all those puppets.
Yeah.
But the other 2 I really liked.
Yeah, for me, I agree with you. Everything was amazing. The stories were amazing. Just that middle section with the demon dog did not make sense. If it had something different, it would have got a perfect 5. But I have to agree with you, a 4 out of 5.
Right.
So
because of that middle section.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to move on to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And yes, Marsha and I did watch the movie, so we understood what the maze was. But we did not go through it. So this was located in the Curious George parking lot, or as they like to call it, H lot, Tent 1, and this is where the Chucky maze was in 2023. Mm-hmm. So basically, what the story for this one is this new ghost called Gorgon has escaped from his ancient
tomb,
and he plans to free all the ghosts and basically wants to take over the world and freezes New York. And the Ghostbusters team up to save the world from the second ice age. So that's pretty much what the premise of this movie was, and they recreated it live at HHN. So the facade for this maze was the bookstore owned by Ray that was played by Danny Aykroyd. So
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. So he came back to play the role of Ray again in this movie. As you enter the bookstore, you see Ray on the phone, and then the device going off, the ancient artifact that's releasing the main bad guy from the movie. And you see the assistant of Ray, which was this kid, that was Ray's assistant for the bookstore, pretending to hit the item, but he's really there to scare you.
Right.
Then you enter a long black hallway, and basically you are told the story of the item, of how it was released and the monster came to life and freezes everything in New York. So they're giving you basically the story of the maze and the movie. Then the next room you enter is a flashback scene from the 1800s where a firefighter comes through the door and is confused, and he scares you from the right-hand side. So basically in the 1800s, this society group released the monster, and then they got him back in the thing, and then he, after many years,
escaped again.
So
right.
The next area you walk through is the sewers of New York. As you turn to get to the next room, there is as you exit the sewer, there is a ghost to your right that scares you, that looks like a sewer worker. Then you turn to the next area, see a giant puppet of the snake creature from the movie. That, serpentine snake creature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? The
big long snake.
Yeah. The next area you enter is the secret lab that Ray built with some of the other original Ghostbusters to study ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
On the left-hand side is the picture of the bad guy from the second one. I don't remember his name. And then the picture goes dark, and there's a live actor that plays the skeleton version of the character.
Mm-hmm. I remember, yeah.
You walk down a hallway where glass is holding the ghost, but it's all broken, and you see the ghost come out from the right and left, and they basically scare you. So there's scare actors that are dressed as ghosts on both sides that scare you.
When you're walking, one ghost, the other ghost, right in the middle.
Yeah. As you enter the hallway, you turn the corner and you see the dogs from the first movie.
The demon dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was on your left side. Then you finally enter the firehouse where the finale of the movie takes place, and where you meet the bad guy, a giant ice creature that caused all the chaos. You see him multiple times in the maze towards the end. The first time you see him is right before you enter the firehouse, and he's on stilts.
Yes, that big tall one. Yeah, got it.
As you enter the firehouse, you see the famous car as well, and there's two actors dressed as Ghostbusters preparing to go to battle.
Mm-hmm.
Next, you're in an alleyway where you see one of them trying to capture Slimer.
The green ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the first movie.
Yeah. The next scene you enter is you're outside where you see two Ghostbusters fighting the creature to capture him again. He is on stilts. And of course, as you exit the maze, you have one last scare from Slimer. So, your thoughts, Mom?
I always liked the Ghostbusters movie. I wish we went through this maze, but like James said, it was so hot that day. Watching the video of the maze, it looked really, really good. I saw all the Ghostbusters movie, including the new one. A lot of good scares, good acting.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this maze.
Right. So, for me, knowing the movie and understanding it, I think they did a really good job. I really don't have any complaints to talk about this one. I think this was our first perfect 5 out of 5. And I think you might agree with me.
I agree with you.
So we're both giving Ghostbusters a 5
out of 5.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, perfect. But as I said, I really kicked myself in the butt that we couldn't see it live. But we're all good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they bring it back next year, we are definitely going to see it.
Right. So the next one we're going to talk about is Insidious the Further. This was the second maze that was located on Curious George, aka H-Lot, and this was in Sprunton 2, where the Universal Monsters maze was last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, this is the description for the maze. It's not the house that's haunted, it's you. Don't get trapped in the further as terrifying demons try to consume you. Enter the red-faced demon's lair beyond the red door and try to find your way out from the key face as they try to lock your spirit. So, basically, the facade was the red-faced demon lair, which I thought was amazing.
It looked so good.
Alright, so as you walk in, you walk through 2 hallways through red curtains, and then you get to the first room where it's the devil's lair with a dummy climbing the ladder. I don't know if this is supposed to be a reference to the sun. This was on your left-hand side.
I'm wondering if that was the sun from the movie.
Then you enter another room where you see a drawing of the devil and to your right is 2 dummies that I think are supposed to reference the father and son as they try to escape the red-faced demon lair. Mm-hmm. Then you finally meet your first scare actor who comes out from a drawing of the red door on your right-hand side, and it's the red-faced demon.
That was a good scare. I really like that scare, but we'll get to the end.
Yeah. Next room entered, there's nothing on your left, but on your right there are 3 dummies. One is in the bed that's supposed to be the son, and the other 2 are supposed to be the mom and dad from the movies.
Okay.
But on your left-hand side, you meet another scare actor that comes out and scares you. Again, it's the red-faced demon.
Mm-hmm.
The next room you entered is called The Further, where there are dummies and there are 2 or 3 live actors that scare you.
Right.
Which I thought was amazing.
It is.
Then you enter the baby's room where you see one of the creatures take the baby, but I don't remember from what film. And there's a window that a live actor bangs on, and it's the actor or actress is dressed as the Woman in Black.
Mm-hmm.
The next room, you go back into the son's bedroom where you see the red-faced demon in the corner, and it's not a live actor, it's a dummy. As you enter the son's bedroom on your left, you get another scare, and again, it's the red-faced demon.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, as you exit the son's bedroom, I meant to say exit the son's bedroom, you get another scare. The next two hallways are full of clothes, so it feels like you're going in the closet. The next room you enter is the son's college dorm room. This is from Insidious, the Red Door, where the son goes to college.
Yep.
And you see a dummy of the son on the right, and then right in front of you is a painting of the old man, and the live actor comes out, who is the man who can't breathe from the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go through a dark hallway and you see a random photo that a live actor comes out and scares you. I don't remember the reference for what that was.
I don't remember either.
The next room you enter is a bathroom, and this is from Insidious, the Red Door, where the son goes to a party and things start acting weird. As you exit that room, there's a dummy that lights up on your left that gives you a scare. Mm-hmm. Then you walk down the long hallway, and then on the other side is the red door where you go through to continue the maze.
Right.
You enter a dark hallway, and you turn to the left, and you see another hallway. Then you see the grandfather's clock, and there's a picture frame right next to it, and a live actor comes out and scares you, and again, it's the woman in black. She's on your left-hand side. The next room, you are back in the red-faced demon lair. As you enter another hallway, on your left, you get another scare from the red-faced demon. You enter another small room, and you enter another room that you go through another red door. The next room you enter is the little boy that's dressed up as a girl, and the mother comes out and says, "How dare you?" I think that's from the second movie, but I don't remember.
I think it's from the first movie. I don't remember.
But before you leave, an actress playing the mother comes out and scares you. So, I just said that, but I double said it. Then you walk down another hallway, and you see the elevator from the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
You enter, and the man who can't breathe comes out and scares you from your left-hand side. As you enter another room, and again, on your left, you see, for the first time, the key monster. I think that's from the fourth movie. Then you enter the room, and there are glass panels on either side. That is a long hallway. On your right-hand side, where the red-faced demon comes out and scares you, and then basically it's basically dark, the lights come up, and he comes out, and then the lights go off again.
Mm-hmm.
As you're exiting the maze, you go through three small hallways. First, it's the bride in black, then it's the man who can't breathe, then the keymaster, and then you get one final scare as you're exiting the maze from the red-faced demon. Okay. Your thoughts, Mom. They really focused on the red-faced demon from I think they were doing it more from Insidious.
The Red Door.
The Red Door, the recent movie that came out a couple years ago.
I liked this maze, okay, when I was watching it. But there was a lot of red demons in there. And I didn't get the rest of the red demon. The rest of the characters, I know what they were doing.
Right.
But there was a lot of red demons. That's my only beef about this maze. When people walking, the picture's open. That's what I like. You get the scare from the picture frames.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I liked about this maze. I liked the maze except the beef with the red demon. There was a lot of red demons. They should have had more actors in there instead of the red demon.
Right.
That's my beef.
Mm-hmm.
But totally, I was watching it. I was immense. Good maze, except what I just said. So, I really liked it.
So, what would be your score?
Because of the red demon, the lot of red demon, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of a lot of the red demons. They should have had more focused on the other characters.
All right,
more.
so for me, I understand why they were doing the red door because, that was the latest Insidious movie that came out. But they focused way too much. Again, I agree with you with the
red demon.
The red-faced demon.
Yeah.
And, the other characters were on the sideline. You had some of them in there, but they mostly focused on the red demon. And, it's like you're trying to bounce between all of the movies. I understand this is a collaboration of all the Insidious movies coming together, but, it really took my focus away. Like, okay, I understand you're doing number 1, then you do number 2, like a mix. But, you're going back and forth. You're starting from the first one, you're going to the second one, you're back to the first one, then you're to the third one, then you're to the fourth one. It's just like you're going all over the place. And
that's what got me confused.
Right. So I don't like mazes like that. Like, it's not a consistent story. So,
no.
For me, I'm really am surprised that I'm going to do this, but I have to give it a 2 because I understood the premise, but you took your focus away and you were doing all these different scenes and it
wasn't working for you.
It wasn't working for me. Yeah. So.
I'm totally surprised on that, James.
Yeah.
I'm totally surprised on that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're gonna do our last one, which is the Terror Tram, and that was the final thing that was available on the lower lot. So this year's Terror Tram was theme to BlumHouse. It was called Terror Tram Enter the BlumHouse. So here's the description, and this was located on the Universal backlot.
Mm-hmm.
The most terrifying characters from BlumHouse that have taken over the Terror Tram face the massacre android, Megan, the serial grabber from the Black Phone, the serial killer from Freaky, and more. So, basically what the story is for the Terror Tram this year, because they always have a story, is you are going to the back lot because the characters from BlumHouse invite you to hang out with them, but this is a hangout that you don't want to go to.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
So basically, just like what they did for this year, the Terror. So, just to clarify before we continue, as the past 2 years, we have gone through Jupiter's Claim. So this year they actually changed it. The Terror Tram did not go for Jupiter's Claim. That was a special VIP or RIP experience only. So Jupiter's Claim was not part of the Terror Tram this year. So this year, Marsha and I are thinking about doing the VIP, so we'll see, but we might do it for one night. So, just wanted to let people know that we did not use Jupiter's Claim for this year's Terror Tram. As you go off the tram, you see the character of Megan saying, "Do you want to have a good time?" And then the chainsaw people that were different characters from the BlumHouse movies came out and scared you. It's the opening that they do every year for the Terror Tram. There's always chainsaw people that are dressed up as different characters. This year it was different characters from different BlumHouse movies.
Yes.
So the first section that you went through was Megan, where you saw 3 scenes from the first Megan movie. And
I didn't see the movie.
I saw the movie, so I understood what it was. The first scene that you see is Megan has a nail gun and shooting nails into a female scientist.
Ew, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second one you see Megan cutting someone's throat. I don't remember if he was a worker or one of the executives.
Okay.
That funded the program.
Right.
And the final one you see is Megan pulling a guy's ear off.
Probably a fake ear.
Yeah. So, that was the first section. So, this Terror Tram was themed to sections. The next area you went through was the Bates Motel. The first area of the Bates Motel was themed to Happy Death Day and Freaky. And then the second part was themed to the Black Phone. Okay? So, as you turn the corner, you see a dummy of the girl from Happy Death Day on the wall. And then inside the room, a live actress comes out with a knife through her stomach. Then next to her, the next door, you see Babyface come out with a knife and scare you in front of his room. And then there's another dummy of the same girl that's on the right side in front of the Babyface room.
Right.
Then on the left side is the props from the Happy Death Day, and there's an opening where another person dressed up as Babyface comes out from the left and scares you. So you had 2 scares on the right, 1 scare on the left. Then you enter the Freakies area. Basically, the first 2 rooms is you see the killer come out, and the other one is the girl comes out, and she pretends that she is ran away from him, and then soon after, they come out of the girl's room, and they go back and forth as the girl is chasing him. So the killer would come out, chase the girl, then she would chase him
back into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
And then by the front door is where they would have both of them come out with chainsaws, and they pretend to fight each other and then scare the guests. They did this half of the time. It depended if they had a huge cast or a small cast that night.
Right.
So people were saying that 50% they would do the 2 chainsaw things, but if they had a low staff, then they would not do that.
Do the chainsaws.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they didn't do that, then on the left side was another opening where the girl would come out with a chainsaw and scare you on the left side if they didn't do the scene where they both came out.
Right. Okay, got it.
So, either way.
It depends on how many cast members they had that night.
Yes. Then the next area was themed to Black Phone, where it was a large fence that you went in the middle of the parking lot of the Bates Motel. So you basically walked around the fence and then through another fence.
Right.
And they had about 6 to 7 people playing different versions of the grabber that popped out and scared you in this area.
Okay.
So, then you start walking up the hill. For the 60th anniversary, they made a replica sign of the Hollywood sign. and they did not take it down after the 60th anniversary for last year's HHN, which is the one that we're talking about now for
Right.
2024. They made it look all bloody.
That looked amazing. Really like that.
Yeah. So, as you get to the top of the hill, you see you are by the Bates Motel, and you can either wait in line to take a photo with Norman or continue to the terror tram. But you didn't have, if you didn't want a photo with Norman, you could continue with the terror tram and skip the line for Norman. And for the first time this year at the photo op for Norman Bates, there were two separate lines. There was the normal line for the people that did the terror tram normally, where they didn't pay for the VIP. And then they had a special line for VIP, aka RIP tours.
Right.
The next area was War of the Worlds, where this was themed to the Purge movies. As you entered the area, there was a hallway that you entered before you got into the War of the Worlds sets, and there was characters that were above you that were scaring you then you entered the War of the Worlds set. Basically, the War of the Worlds set was all these different characters from the Purge movies scaring you left and right. That was pretty much all in the War of the Worlds set. So that was pretty much it. And then, as you exited the War of the Worlds set, there was a chainsaw people again, but it was not all the different characters. This time, it was the cowboys from the Forever Purge.
I don't remember that movie, but I recognize them.
Yeah. And then that wraps up the Terror Tram this year. So, your thoughts for the Terror Tram, Mom?
I really liked it this year, okay? Because it wasn't all Purge.
Right. Which they have done all Purge in the past.
Right. I like the Megan, I like the Black Phone, the Purge, Happy Death Day. When I was watching, it's like, good, it's not all Purge.
Right.
That's what I liked about the Terror Tram. I saw all the Purge movies and stuff, but I haven't seen the rest of the movies for BlumHouse. So, yeah, I really liked it. It was really, really good. They put it in sections. That's what I liked. So, my score is 5 out of 5 because when I was watching it, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for me, I actually have no complaints. I was happy that they did it in different sections. I think this was one of the best Terror Trams I have seen. Unfortunately, I wish I could have done it live.
Right.
But, just watching the videos and stuff were amazing.
It was.
So,
what's your score, James?
I have to give it a 5 out of 5 too. Like, I have really no complaints. So, alright guys, so this is going to wrap up part 1 of our Halloween Horror Nights 2024 review part 1. So I just wanted to let you guys know that part 2 will be coming out on Tuesday the 28th. So I'm going to give this video a couple of days for people to watch. And then on Tuesday the 28th, I'm going to be releasing part 2. And then I'll let you know at the end of part 2 when part 3 will be coming out. So I would like to thank my co-host Marsha for joining me for this episode.
You are welcome.
So she is planning to do part 2 and 3 with me, but because of her work schedule, we don't know what's going to happen. So She may be in part 2. She may be not. And the same for part 3. So we'll just see what happens. But either way, part 2 will be coming out on Tuesday if it's going to just be me solo or if I'm going to be joined by my co-host again. So, just to remind everyone that part 2 is going to be the 4 mazes that were located downstairs on the lower lot. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the maze that we did not do on the lower lot first, and then we're going to talk about the 3 that we did on opening night. So that's how we're going to do it. So you can follow me on all of my social media sites that will be listed down below. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and for right now, TikTok. Because if you know, TikTok had a ban, but then President Trump gave them an additional 75 days, so we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok, but as of right now, you can still follow me on TikTok. But if TikTok goes down, you can still follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can follow my co-host, my mom, Marsha, on her social media sites, which is Twitter and Instagram, which will be listed down below. So, Mom, before we wrap up this episode slash video slash podcast, do you have anything else to say about part 1?
I wish we went through some of the mazes, but like we said, it was really hot that day and we were getting sick. But next year, we are going through all the mazes. So I really, like I said, I really like the Terror Tram and stuff.
When you said we're going through all the mazes this year, you said last year.
Sorry. With my work, I get tired easily.
So, you meant to say this year in 2025, we're going to go through all the mazes.
Yes.
And the Terror Tram this year.
Yes. That's what I meant to say. So, I really enjoyed watching the mazes so far. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. So, that's really all I have to say.
All right, guys. So that is going to wrap up part 1. I want to thank you guys. I'm your host, James, a.k.a. Jimmy Pancakes. Once again, I want to thank my co-host, Marsha, for joining me. And we'll see you for the next video slash podcast coming out on the 28th, which was going to be part 2 of our Halloween Horror Nights 2024 review. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.